All right, let's do this. So, a lot of decisive results today from the US Championships. This is the website 2700chess.com. And as you can see on the side here, look, check this out. We got four decisive results. Now, one thing I've never really done is analyzed these top current games, and I think it would be really beneficial for me to do so. I remember I was talking to Eric Kislik, my favorite chess author. I think it's amazing. Really revolutionized my chess talking to this guy. And he always analyzes the latest games. Really improves your understanding. So let's try this. Um, let's start with this one because apparently this was like a really short game, only 10 moves. So let's quickly download the PGN and analyze what the heck happened here. Some kind of opening trap or something. Okay, where's the PGN here? Download PGN. I don't know where it went. It's not showing up. Maybe I had to pay for it or something. Shit. Download PGN. Yeah, you need to be a premium member to have this access to this feature. Okay. I don't think I can analyze moves without. No, it lets me. It lets me put moves in. So we'll try it without putting it into ChessBase. Let's take a look at this. Analyze without the engine first. So it's a Petrov. This all seems pretty standard. I don't have access to the database, unfortunately, so I'm not sure what the opening theory is, but I guess I don't really need to. Well, I don't know. I would rather put it to ChessBase. That just sucks. Okay, let's take a look at this. What happened here? This all seems pretty standard. C4. And it seems this might have been the mistake or maybe the move. This is definitely a mistake if he resigned here. The idea being, first of all, if queen takes, then rook e1. And there's no way to guard that bishop on e7. After the queen moves somewhere, the bishop on e7 is dropping. And if bishop takes, I suppose when I looked over it cursorily, I thought knight c3 is the reason he resigned, but now I'm looking at this. So already, what's the material like? We've taken a knight. He's taken back. So material is equal. Knight c3. What happened? I think at the end of it, the knight will be hitting the bishop on e7, which is unfortunate because like here, it's like yes, black is currently up a piece, but white can take two pieces now because he takes a check and then he take here as well, and white is just up a piece here. Wow. So then the question is, like, where did black go wrong? I mean, this would be the moment to kind of realize that the trap is coming and you play something else. Maybe can't play queen d5 because knight c3. Yeah. Okay, so here, maybe, I mean, you're forced to play something like knight d6, but then I don't know about this man. Like at worst, maybe even his take and play knight c3. And how is black getting the pawn back? Maybe he can, like here, this sort of thing. But I don't see this knight getting to a position where he can really up the pressure. There's no light squared bishop. I mean, just yeah, I think white's just doing really well. So I don't think this is the theory or anything. I think black is already messed up by allowing CD. At this point, I don't see black getting back in the game. Unless he played rook e8. I don't know. Rook e8. Maybe yeah, maybe rook e8 saves it. I don't know. Because now he's ready to take, like, let's say I do a nothing move like this, and then he can probably play queen takes d5 and you should be okay. Because now if the trick doesn't work, you can take with anything here. Because the bishop's guarded now. And white is sitting there with an isolated pawn. I don't know. Seems alright. I think rook e8 saves it. And if say you try to play more ambitiously like this, well then I don't see, like, you can't take the bishop now. Queen's hanging. Like, this is, I don't see why black would be not doing well. Okay here. I think rook e8 saves it here. I don't see white holding onto that pawn. I mean, is there something like rook e1 maybe? Because there is a pin here after all, but now I think you can still get away with queen takes d5. Yeah, I'm gonna say rook e8 saves there. Amazing. Let's check with the engine. Analysis on. Okay. What does it say? No, it says already +1, so no, black is not safe. Although it does recommend. I'm guessing these are the engine. No, no, those are my moves. Where's the engine moves? What the heck? Man, why can't I download this on ChessBase? It's ridiculous. It just gives me a number. Jesus Christ. What is this? Give me some lines. Oh, I need to download this. This is stupid. Okay. It says +1 already though, so back here, black cannot castle it seems because c takes d. Although I want to check, rook e8, what's the evaluation? Still +1. So white must have something here. Let's try and guess what it would be. Uh, Geez, like why is this still better for white? I don't know. Takes +2. Yeah, of course, because now you can take it by knight c3. Oh man, or does Kenny? Man, my brain's not even working. Too fused. Okay, doing this right now. Yeah, at the end of it, the bishop's still hanging. Okay, this is a stupid way to analyze. I need to download this game. This is ridiculous. Let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find these latest games from another resource. That was pissing me off. U.S. Championships. Come on, give me the games. Unfortunately, I don't think they'll have the latest games, and they're not organized properly. So what the hell's going on? It's not even telling me their own number. Ah. Well, I guess we look at another game then. No, I can't do that. I already advertised. This is round 7. Here it is. Petrov Defense. I can get it from here. Might as well just download the whole PGN. Screw it. No, only premium. Oh my god. Let's try downloading from here. There we go. Finally, sorry guys. Come on. Okay, here we go. So let's check the reference database. Default qubits are on. This all seems pretty fairly standard to me. I know nothing about Petrov, but a lot of games played in this position. Castles. Bishop f5 just seems kind of a little bit anti-positional, but maybe it's a good move. Who knows? It just seems like the priority for black should be to castle or develop knights before bishops, but to leave a bishop on an unprotected square like that, I don't know, man. But okay, we get c4. Also, yeah, c4 makes a lot of sense because now, whenever that bishop moves out, it's like there's always queen b3 stuff, right, in the air. Light squares are a bit weaker. Seems like a natural reaction. So he castles, and yeah, engine is saying it's already cd and it's a mistake. And now I was thinking rook e8 saves it, but let's see what white should do here. It says knight e5. Now what's the big idea here? If I just take here, isn't black doing well? But no, the right bishop c. So this is something I missed in my analysis. Okay, so actually knight e5 is a really nice move that doesn't even allow bishop takes d5. But still, I don't need to take it. Why is it so powerful? Let's say I played f6. I know it's an ugly move, but what is white doing here? Now, if he ran back, I think black is no, it's still X white. Okay, let's say I just decided to do something like this. Then, okay, what is going on here, man? The heck? Okay, this is crazy. So f6, I mean, it looks like nothing's happening, but actually it really now queen takes d5 is always met with some tactics like queen c2 hitting both the line on e4 and threatening bishop c4, right? Like just one sample line that engine shows is here, and the idea being if we can get the bishop away from this defense of the knight, however we achieve that, then we get queen c2 with a double threat. I mean, here, like let's say bishop e6 is one line, then already queen c2, and the idea is like you got a threat on the knight, you got a threat on h7, you got a threat of bishop c4, not currently, but in the future, and it's just black's falling apart. Like if the knight moves, you take on h7. If it goes f5, then the bishop is kind of overloaded because it needs to stay here to guard against bishop c4. So you can even take that. Queen cannot take because then you lose defender of the knight. Bishop takes, you remove the defender. Now you got that skewer. Man, so f6 is just a dirty move. I mean, just lose. Interesting. So it's crazy that I was not like I was completely oblivious to all these tactical resources in the position. I thought black is holding with rook e8, but man, there's a lot of stuff happening. And 95 isn't even the only move. Apparently, rook e1. A lot of pressure here. And I'm still curious. I just don't understand the stuff. Like, let's say 96. How is white so much better? So now its computer is suggesting, let's say, bishop f4. And I'm still clueless. I don't know what's going on in the position. So queen takes. Uh, why is black not able to survive the stuff? I don't know. Let's say here. Uh, knight c3. And here it's kind of logical why white would be better. So I'm not going to analyze further. Uh, Yeah. So okay. So then castles is the mistake, and what should black play instead? You should play DC. I guess bishop takes, and now probably castles. Yeah, castles, and now it's an isolated pawn position, and I don't like black's piece coordination, and yet white has the isolated pawn. So, eh. I mean, black should be fine. That bishop can come to f6, I guess. I don't know. So let's see. Let's say he plays. I don't know, man. Let's try this. Develop something. Or even let's play a human move. Knight c3. Why is knight c3 not suggested? Then you have knight c3, b c3, and say knight c6. And this hanging pawns here do control a lot of squares. White is to be preferred. I guess white's doing all right. What else is there here? Knight c6. Then I'm not sure what I would play with white here. d4. No, everything's guarded, so I can just develop naturally somehow with a bishop e3. It's a human move. I would probably play that. Rook e1 is also natural, then probably forcing him to trade on c3, which helps me bolster my pawn center. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Petrov player at all. It's like my first time ever analyzing a Petrov, so, but okay, it starting to make sense. So my question then is that if on all these lines white is doing better, then why is black playing the shit? I mean, what was his idea? You know, like castles. Let's say he even let's say this trap doesn't even work. Okay, let's say white plays something other than this. Let's say I play here. Just curious, like what was going through Black's mind? Like even if there he wasn't aware of the trap, maybe even if the trap didn't exist, why does he go into this line? So then naturally you would probably play here, trade off everything, I guess. And here it makes sense why Black would be doing all right. Maybe just Rook d8 and sc5 kind of thing going on. I'm not sure. Let's say he goes c5 already might run into c4, I think, and White gets that passer. So this cannot be good. Like d5 coming next, and white just has a dominating position. So life is not easy for black here. Can't just do anything. So How does black stop c4 from coming? Like, I don't see how knight c6 stops c4. Queen d6. And I think the idea is the before the passer was really powerful because the c pawn had moved, so d5 was just a pass pawn. Here it's not really a pass pawn completely because there's still a c pawn controlling the squares. So here black can probably just pile up on this, and it's not so easy for white to prove anything here. Yeah. All right, so that's that. Um, I'm not sure what to take away from this game apart from there's a trap here. And I guess how many tactical resources can pop up into the air on a move like f6 or 95 here? Uh, right, fuck this game. Enough of this shit. Next game. What other game was played today? We had Ray Robson beating Wesley So. We had Caravan beating Lenderman. Swirks beating Neiman. Let's pick up this drama. I want Hans Niemann to win, but he lost, but it's still drama. Any drama is good. Let's do it. So this is a what the heck is this? This is a Catalan slash I don't know what would you call this? G3 Nimzo. I don't have no idea what you call this. I'm not gonna focus on the theory here because I have no clue what's going on. It seems like a normal enough position. Uh, Black seems a little bit passive. Yeah, I don't. I think Black is already too passive. I think here you should just take on c4, make White prove something. This way, if you play, I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, the fianchetto here, maybe he wants to keep the d5 pawn. I don't know. It's probably all normal. b6, b3. Here somewhere. I don't know what he's doing with this a5 move. Kind of makes sense against the b3 pawn move. Bishop c3. I don't know what to make of this position. All I know is that I think White just really has everything under control here. Just with the kind of control, the presence he has over that e5 square. Man, I don't know. It just seems like all of White's pieces are just really well placed. Check this out. And I'm not sure what Black's active plans are here. Like, it seems to me that Black would want to play c5 to liberate his game, but then with this inclusion of the move a5, then just everything seems really weak here. Like, I don't know. We'll see. So he does play c5, and I'm curious how White would respond to this. So like, first of all, let's say if I just, I mean, you've even got a queen on the line of this rook, which doesn't seem right. So okay, let's start with taking this in principle, just opening the rook against the queen. Now, if pawn takes, you're kind of blocking in this bishop, which is I don't know, man. And then what else are we gonna do here? Let's say I took here, and then if black took here, you do have some kind of blockade thing going on, and this being open, white should be doing well there, I think. I mean, let's say I even park something on d4. This just seems like a ideal kind of position for white. So back here, he would have to take with a pawn. But then, do I have some? No. Is black doing all right here? I think black's doing. Maybe I play something like this and just play against the hanging pawns. Can black push any of them? Not really. So let's say he runs away. And I don't know what's going on in this position either. Maybe he's holding somehow. What are the alternatives? Let's say I take there. Really don't know what to make of any of this. Makes no sense to me. Oh god. Whatever. What happened in the game? Holy crap. So he played c to d. Yeah. In principle, this just makes sense to me. You open the rook against the queen, and you make it so black doesn't want to take with the pawn, I guess. So right, he takes with the bishop, but the queen side just seems very sketchy to me. So now e4 is in the air. Like, come on, why can't he just play e4 here? Which is what was played. Bishop back somewhere. And can white even play d5 here? I don't know. d5 takes. No. Knight c4. How would white continue here? You don't want to play e5. Probably this is not the move because then we're letting pieces in the air. d5 doesn't looks nice, but I don't see it doing it much. Oh, that's not doing anything. So how is white going to deal with this? Personally, I like the move knight e5, but it doesn't seem to do anything. Like even here, you just go here. What did you accomplish? Maybe I take here actually. This looks good for white, because e5 is coming next. Knight takes e5. This just looks really nice for white, although I'm not even sure about that. I don't know, what did white play? I'm just clueless in these positions. Okay, so he plays bishop e2, keeps the tension, because he's got a nice pawn center. Now black is ready to take on c5, d4, and liberate his game. So what did white play? He plays e5, knight d5. Now white must have something concrete because it's a short game and he won soon. So uh, probably he played knight e4, knight c4. And is there any b5? No, because a5 is hanging. He plays queen a8. Still don't know what's going on. If anything, now it's white that's position that seems sketchy here. Takes, and you're telling me black has nothing here on that diagonal? Like, let's say he plays something like this. What's the big idea? f3 is hit badly here. I guess you take there. Yeah. Easy. So he takes back. I'm curious if he can play rook takes knight. And then take on b6 next. Like, I don't know, man. Let's say he took here, takes there. White should be doing well. If he took with the bishop, knight b6. And I think the problem here is that white retains all the pressure. So this cannot be so good. Like, yeah, white is up a pawn, but I think just black has a lot of pressure. Like, how are you going to guard f3, you know? Maybe he has to go knight, can you go knight h4, he just takes it. So yeah, this ostensibly looks good, but I think at the end of it, black has getting too much pressure here. It's knight d6. I don't understand this takes. And if white took back, yeah, the pawn is seems kind of overextended, but he plays this intermezzo. And now after g6, takes, and white seems to be getting an attack going here. Or is he? Like, okay, so let's say he plays h6, which I know is ugly, but what would he, how would this go down? Like, I'm curious, would he take this knight even? Idea being that if he takes back with something, you can take on e6. Just want to get my queen in there. This white wins here. So I'm thinking here, you would have to take this, and I don't think black wants to do that because now we just run away somewhere. And white has really compromised his kingside structure. So that's my guess. I think. So this is what happened in the game. Knight g5, g6, takes, queen b8. So I'm just thinking of like h6. I'm wondering if rook c5 is in the air. Or even something simpler, honestly. Like frankly, even if h6 can you even take on f7, you know? Rook takes, I don't think works because of queen g6. Well, that could be wrong, with the followed by rook lift even. But if king takes, I don't see him following this up, this attack. Maybe it's no good. Whatever. So he plays queen b8. Then white needs to do something here. So rook c4. Right, this rook lift. Now, if he took that pawn, I'm curious how white would continue this attack. Oh, fuck. Okay. So let's say knight h7. This is white is just winning here. Checkmate, checkmate attack. That's not good for black, and that's not even the only way to continue. Probably, it's probably even something like this would. Cause like here, you could even take followed by queen h7 checkmate. Looks scary. So he goes h6, and I'm curious how white followed this up. I'm guessing, yeah, this knight e6 idea, but I was going to take out the knight first in my lens. When you take on e6, the knight can take here, so I don't understand. Oh, but then d5 is hanging, right? Interesting. And there must be something here. So white is already up a pawn, has a dominate position, so technically you could even keep things very simple by withdrawing the rook, but the fact that black resigned here, right, this move d7, I remember seeing it earlier, but let's try and make sense of it, because I just saw the move, but I didn't really know what was up with this move. Okay, so what's the idea here? If he takes the rook, then we take here, and we've got the rook protected, and we've got the pawn protected. So here, black is just playing a pawn down, and he's fucked. If the rook runs, uh, I guess boys rook d6. This is a miserable position to play. Let's go back and quickly check this with the engine, because I just a lot of this game I just don't understand what's going on. So is there any chat? Let's check. I don't want to miss the chat. Just quickly let me check here. I want to keep that top chat thing open here on the side. There we go. Ashton. Yeah, Ashton. Let me just open this up quickly. Where is it? I keep losing my chat window. Top chat. Chess base fan. Who's a chess base fan? Me or this guy? It says chess base fancy. Fancy. Yes, very fancy. You're not a chess player unless you own chess base. Did you spot quite a few mistakes in the closed? I was kind of confused when I saw the games. Uh, funny thing is, I saw two of Honey's games, and I feel like he was playing really well, but then he kind of self-destructed in a couple of games. Like I was amazed, or even like I saw Neil Dockness's like Neil Dockness was playing some amazing chess, but then against Raymond Kaufman, he didn't play g4 in that French, and he had like three chances to do that, and would have just like wiped Raymond off the board, but then he didn't play it like three times. So yeah, and then there was this game Ryan versus Raymond Kaufman where Raymond let Ryan yank back in the game with like a exchange sacrifice or something like. So it was like they were all playing brilliant chess, but then they all kept blundering little things, which is like weird to me. Because like I would catch the blunders when I was analyzing the games, but then the rest of the games I was like shocked, like it was way above my level. So I don't know. It's like they're playing brilliant chess and then they make weird mistakes. That was just my impression. Yeah. It was McLaren, Ryan, Brian McLaren. Could you let me pull that up because I don't remember. I haven't looked at that game. I have the games downloaded here somewhere. Hold on. Where is it? I just downloaded it yesterday. Whoa, whoa, where is it? I just downloaded it yesterday. Clip database? Is that where it is? No. I just got ChessBase. I'm still trying to figure it out. Here it is. McLaren versus Ryan. Where is that? There is no McLaren right? Unless he's black. This one, here it is. Ryan Beaton, what the heck? Some players had pretty good prep, but yeah, I wasn't impressed by the calculation in the field. Yeah, yeah, some of them were playing some crazy opening prep that was like really deep, and they would get awesome positions. I was amazed. Okay, so let's see. We have Ryan Yang playing this stuff. Okay, let's pull this up, the reference database, and let's shut off the kibitzer in the other game so I can use it. Let me just close the other ones quickly so I can use the here. There, let's close this. Now I can use the kibitzer on the other game. Here we go. Alright, let's just alright. Let's try analyzing it without the engine first, so just want to see what's going on here. So castles. Uh, now I actually played this with white, although I don't usually play b3 and bishop b2. This is kind of my bread and butter. Here I usually just I would castle personally, and then I like to play e3 or queen e1. They're both good. And then what happens is like you play e4 next. This is kind of like theory. It's just the way I played. I used to look at Raphael Viganian's games, and okay, so yeah, first knight b2, sorry, and then then let's say play something like bishop e7. I think here you play queen e1 or e3. Yeah, queen e1 castles, and I find I can usually black players don't usually look into this. They don't prep this, so you can wipe them off the board pretty easily with this. For example, if they make the mistake of playing knight d7 too early, then already e4 is just crushing them because when you play e5, that knight has nowhere to go, which is why the theory says you don't develop the knight to d7, so that this knight has somewhere to go after e4, e5. But Ryan's playing a different setup here. He plays b3 very early on. Wait, let me go back to the game here. Okay, h6, right? And same idea. You're just gonna play e5, and then you're gonna put a knight on e5 or something, and have good control over. Okay, I don't. Is rook e1 necessary here? I don't. I'm not sure. Because there are other ways to achieve e4. I'm not sure if you want to commit the rook to e1, but okay, it's good enough. Can't be bad. Queen e2, all good so far. It's just white should be doing really well here. Uh, I'm not sure if a3 I like because it just gives black a weakness to hit. What's going on here? Right. That kid does not look at openings at all. Ryan Yang. Oh. Yeah, he's just kind of I don't know. Like here, usually you would want to go to e3 with a knight, which is a beautiful square, but here you can't because e4 is hanging. Um, like I don't know. Instead of a3, like I don't know. I've never seen a3 in these positions. It just doesn't seem right. Like if anything, you want to play a4 or something. But okay, all right, a3. And I just feel like why go to c4 if you're gonna get hit and go back to d2? It doesn't make sense to me. But okay, c4. All right, he's doing his thing. Uh, Knight c5. Like that knight is going to e6 and then it's hopping back to like d4, and I like black's position there. So what did white play? Yeah, what is going on here? Wasn't b3 hang? He must have a trick. All right, he takes on b5. Amazing. I feel like he's just playing a purely tactical game and it's working. It's amazing. He doesn't know what he's doing, but he's pulling out some tactics here to justify everything. The c4, b5 was hanging then. Uh, so what should black do here then? Should he play a6? Or queen b, like what should black? I'm not sure. Because here I feel like I like what white did here. Um, black is fine too. Yeah, no, black is doing fine. What happened here? Let's go through this game. I don't get what's going on. I'll have to analyze it properly and deeply later on. Let me just flick through the moves quickly. I don't understand what's going on. So takes. Okay, if bishop takes, rook takes, b1 knight is hanging at the end. I see. So he plays knight c3. Takes. And isn't black doing better here? Black is up a pawn. And he's got a dominant knight on d4. How did black lose this game? Oh, but there's a skewer. Oh my god. Knight takes f2 for starters here. Okay, first of all, okay, so if I accept, what's the plan here? Sorry, my calculation's shit as well. So are you gonna play here? Not let him go back to g1? No, but then king f1 seems to do alright. Or maybe you just go and pick up the rook. Is that the idea? I'm not sure. Like, what's the material balance even like here? White is up. God damn. So two. No. Okay, so black is no. How do I? Oh my! What is the material situation here? This is depressing. White is up a piece, right? Because we sacked on f2. So if I get that rook back with, let's say, knight c2, uh, well, I can't go here because bishop d3 would kill me, probably. This looks pretty ugly. Yeah, so knight f2 I think just it works. But he played knight c3 for some reason. And he's just holding up onto the extra pawn, but then he falls into a skewer. But he pins it. Okay, so the skewer is not working. But then there's a queen. No, there's no queen check. But then he has been. Oh my god! But he gets rid of the skewer like this. I'm not seeing anything right now. What is called queen d6. So then he can take the rook. So now white is back in the game. Up in exchange, but down a pawn. Okay, check. Knight f2 gets messy. Yeah, seems like it. I'll have to analyze it again deeper here as soon as I get through the game. There. I'll check. I'll go deeper analysis without the engine first after I get through the moves, then I'll check with the engine. What the heck is going on? Okay, queen e8, queen e7. What is going on here? Still, wow. Okay. Yeah, white is definitely got some pressure here on these white squares. But I mean, it's not over yet. Like, no, black is doing all right now, I think. Between moves like 23 and 25, you can find a lot of stuff. That's queen a4, queen b6, bishop a1. All right, I'll take a look at that. Thanks for coming in, Ashton. I'll take a look at this game deeply. This is very fascinating stuff. Knight takes. It's very interesting imbalance here. I just think if black can find a way to put his bishop on this diagonal and hold the a7 pawn, then I don't see why black is losing here. Like, in no world is black losing there. The problem is I don't see him getting the bishop to that diagonal anytime soon. But I feel like he had to. Because if the bishop gets to that diagonal, it's a fortress. Like, the rook can never get that pawn, the bishop cannot get that pawn. And of course, if you can maintain the bishop on that diagonal, that's also tough because if you just put it on b6, there's always a5. So I'm not sure. So let's see. Okay, so a5 actually gave black a chance to set up a fortress, I feel like, with the bishop on b4, except that it's a very short diagonal for the bishop, so this is not as good. I don't know. I think black can hold this, but I could be wrong. If anything, I think black is. Oh, he lost on time. What the heck? Okay, let's go back through this. Let's look at this carefully. I don't know. Let's look at this carefully. So here he's hitting. Yeah, I'm gonna try and actually dissect what is going on because I wasn't quite catching it. My brain is too messed up right now. Okay, so we got three attackers on e5 and two defenders. That's why he went to c4. So black probably played bishop f8, yeah, to guard e5. Now white needs to think about, okay, I can't add any more attackers on e5, and my knight is going to get kicked next move with b5. Do I have a plan for that? Ideally, white would like to go knight e3 here, and then hop back out to f5. That's usually why you would go to c4 in the first place. Can I make that happen now, after b5? The problem is here, this pawn gets taken. And there are two attackers currently, actually. Which makes me think, last move, did black have to guard that pawn? Or can he just take this pawn right now? Like, what kind of position do we enter into here? Like, let's say takes, takes. Now this knight's hanging, so I run away. I don't think I would guard it. I could try to guard it, maybe like this. But then I'm risking... I don't know how to evaluate this position. I think black is doing fine here. Like b5 is coming to kick it out. Although maybe not. Fuck, I don't even know. It's getting ridiculous. Okay. So, but he plays a safe way, bishop f8. At h4, and he didn't take into account b, like he didn't do anything against b5. I'm curious if here you want to play a4, but does that really stop b5? Takes, takes, and let's say knight somewhere. No, you didn't really stop it. At this point, I think black maybe even play. I don't know if you want to play queen b6 because c4. No, this should be good for black, I think. Although e5 is still a target. Maybe a5. Jeez. So maybe a4 is not really working here. And e4 is still hanging. So he played... Right, so knight h4, he's trying to guard e4 while at the same time setting up h5. Okay, so I'm just thinking if knight c4 was premature. If this is all it takes for black to defend it, the threat. And could he have played some other way? Like here, maybe knight h4 now, right now. Might be a... Then... Like let's go through a few moves here. Like let's say black played, I don't know, bishop f8. Let's say just as an example, you play knight f5 and takes takes. Is there this? I'm curious. Does black want to play that at all? I'm not sure. Like let's say if I took here. Not there because bishop takes, but here. And I don't think white wants to play this. Isn't white up a pawn though? Since when did white get up a pawn? Because we took the free e4 pawn. So that then the point is that if white can hold on and not lose a piece, then white is up a pawn in the end. So let's say knight c5, f3. I should be holding on still. So white is doing all right there. So if there's no e4, then white will play knight e4 next or something, and I'd be tempted to even play g4 honestly, even though the dark squares are super weak. But with knight e4 there, so I think knight f5 works, and bishop should not be taking it. Is there g6? It's a very ugly move, and then I have to run back. But this is white is really doing really well here. Bishops are looking ugly on h7. So personally, I think knight h4 is the move. But okay, let's see. Knight c4, he guards it, and then white has to go back. Rook d8. It's still a game. Now c4 is another interesting move, which really makes it concrete, very concrete, because after knight c5, there's no doubt that black is threatening things like knight d3. Okay. Now the way to guard d3, which it would not have entered my mind, but now it enters my mind because I saw the game. He played knight b1. Now I'm understanding because I'm going through it slower. He's trying to guard the d3 square, and it's a very tactical way of doing this because the knight was actually guarding b3. But he's letting that go because he sees that he'll grab an extra pawn here instead. And at this point, he's gotten out of this tactically. But in terms of like what the logic, like the motifs here, they're not in White's favor. I feel like because you're sitting there with the queen and a bishop and a passive knight there, so there's got to be something going on there. You're also overloaded because you've got two attackers here, two defenders, but then this rook is also guarding on d1, right? Uh, Although at this point the queen is hitting this e8 rook, so if you try and go for that tactic right now, it's not quite working because you can't take there because queen would take on e8. But it's like it's so tenuously held together that you got to think that black is doing pretty well here. Like this bishop is not in the game, this knight is not in the game, bishop is hanging, queen is not on a good square, and black is completely safe here. This knight on h4, it's a good piece, good future, but currently it's also not doing anything. Rook is kind of overloaded. There's got to be something there. So let's go back here. I think white has already gone wrong. But okay, let's see if black played a concrete way to punish it. How did this go here? He played. Okay, so this is good what he did. Ryan saw that that in that position that we just analyzed, this rook is a little bit overloaded. So what he did is before entering into the sequence, he took out that rook. He traded it off so that he doesn't need to defend anything here. So he can go into pure defense mode and not be overloaded. So now he takes it. But still, you've got to think that white's pieces are very inactive currently. So can I do something here? So he plays knight d4. I'm curious if there's anything better, like even queen c2. So I'm hitting the bishop and protecting the knight. Okay. And is there a rook e2 in the air? No, because b1 knight is hanging. So how does he guard this? Can he take here? Unfortunately, that is. But then I'm thinking, is there something like this? Now I'm hitting both the rook and the knight. But he can afford to take there because there's queen here at the end. But then at the end, e4 will be hanging as well. So this should be a kind of equalish position. Although I think black is to be preferred just for piece activity, but it's equalish. So this is not giving black anything. Um, but I'm at least I noticed it now. Okay, so the e5 pawn is kind of hanging currently too. And how does black deal with that? He played knight d4, so I guess this one of the ideas is that it blocks the bishop from capturing there. Nice. I think that's a good move then. Although now white gets to get back in the game, I feel like. So maybe he plays now. There's a threat of rook b8 and skewering these pieces, so you can't develop the knight yet. So I like this knight d4 move, and I don't think the bishop wants to take there because after you take, you have a powerful pass pawn here. Although I'm trying to think if tactically white has anything immediate like e5, because the knight can't go there, can't go there. It has to go to a weird square. Uh, Fuck, I don't know, man. Maybe like you don't want to go there because then it just gets hit with h3 and you can't. You're not ready to take there yet. And you could pin it so you can't take there, but then it's like I would rather have my rook sitting there, you know. And I don't want to use the queen to pin this pawn because I'd rather have the queen doing something else, a different function, you know. And white could probably get out of this pin pretty easily, although I don't see how yet. Maybe like this. I don't know, man. But I don't think black wants to allow that kind of thing. But then you got that pot. Shit. Double edge. What the hell? Can you take here? Do I want to take there? I don't think so. Maybe. It does get rid of a potential blocker of that pass pawn. Now the rook does not want to take because then queen takes e5. So maybe queen has to take. Now I can deal with this knight problem because the queen's not controlling that square anymore. And here I think black is doing really well because now he gets to keep the pass pawn. Knight is coming in. Yeah, I think black's doing really well there. So bishop can't take the knight. So I think black is to be preferred there. Let me quickly pop on the engine just for this move and check my evaluation. Yeah, black is yeah plus minus 2 point. Yeah, okay. So my evaluation is correct there. Let's keep going without the engine. So he plays queen a4 to get out of this skewer possibility. Queen b6. Um, Now I'm curious if there was any kind of trap on bishop c3. I think there was because I think he's counting on this rook being overloaded. So yeah, the first time I was flicking through moves, I didn't understand anything, but I'm trying to go slowly and dissect what is going on. I think the idea is that now he could take here with something, and then here he could take on b1 at the end. So queen b6 is not just hitting the bishop, but it's setting up a trap on bishop c3. Although then I have to think like if I take there, it's not like he has to take there right away. He can take here first. But then he would take with something and then also keep it guarded. So I really think bishop c3 is not working here at all. Let's just check quickly if this is the refutation that takes c4. Yeah, I'm correct. Fuck yeah. 2 for 2. Okay, let's turn this off again. So he goes bishop a1. Pretty ugly move to have to play. And now he captures on e4. So he's won a pawn. Okay, pawn, well, he's won a pawn to the good, so black should definitely be better here. Now after knight c3, this is where Ashton was suggesting, it says between moves like 23 and 25, you can find a lot of stuff. Ashton says knight f2 is the move. Let's try to assess this. So first of all, king takes knight. Yeah, now I've got to think that some kind of knight discovery here, some kind of queen discovery here has got to be the next move. So how many discoveries make sense here? Like you've got c2. This one makes sense because you're hitting the rook. You got, I think f5 could make sense, but I don't think it does. So it's got to be c2. So let's check c2. And let's check the material too. Black is down a piece, but he's up 2 pawns. So even if this sacrifice doesn't work, he's got some material for it. And here you are at least getting an exchange back. So it'll be 2 pawns and a rook for 2 minor pieces, uh, which is kind of an equal material balance thing. But the white king will be very weak. So let's check this out. Okay, so what would white play here? Of course not rook e3 because then queen takes rook with it's a free rook this time. And you can't just go g1 or something. You don't want to go e2. It's way too open. So you got to go king f1. It's the only move. Now if black has nothing better, if you took the rook here, currently you have a rook and 2 pawns for 2 minor pieces, but I suspect black has a lot more with how open the king is. Like for example, let's say you tried this. No, that's not doing that much. Knight is protecting the bishop. Um, how would he even continue this? Like there's also queen e3. Knight e2 doesn't seem very appetizing. I'm not sure how concretely you would do this, but like even something like this, and already this is not really working because you can take and play queen c1, picking up the bishop. There's no queen d1 because the rook is controlling that square. So then you would have to try and use the bishop to guard it somehow, but then it just seems like I mean, here you even have e4, or do you? Yeah, you have e4 here. So maybe he tries bishop f1. And even if you're not cashing in, it's like, come on, man. I mean, even if you don't play e4, honestly, just anything would be good. Like even just rook b8, I'm guessing, would be enough to really pose some problems. Like what? Is he gonna go queen there now? No, there's still rook b1. So this just seems toast. I think knight f2 just wins. Just because knight c2 is just crashing through, man. There is no defense here. Yeah, knight f2 is really nice. But then one question is, does white have to take it? Can he does he have anything else? Any other kind of defense here? And I'm not seeing anything at all. Yeah, so black is just crushing there. Let's check the engine. Let's see if Ashton found the best move. And yes, he did. Ashton, the tactical whiz, man, he found knight takes f2 the best move. But he was also right that other moves are winning as well. Like knight engine is recommending knight c5, and I'm not sure why yet. So it's hitting the queen, and the queen is really short of squares. Like where's that queen going? That's crazy. Now b4 is one square, but let me turn off the engine. Let me see if I can find what's the big idea of knight c5 here. Knight d3 looks good, but he can trade queens first and then move the rook away. So that I don't think that's it. So what's the big idea? How do I get rid of the arrows? Okay. I'm actually not sure. But it looks good. I mean, there's no doubt that black is dominating in this game. So let's leave this. Let's go back here somewhere. Like, where did white go wrong? So all throughout here, it seems like even without calculating anything, I assessed this, mentioned this before, that if you just compare the piece activity, it's obvious that white is not doing really well here because you got a passive knight, unprotected bishop, unprotected rook, knight out of the game, queen on a shitty square where it can get skewered. Black's pieces are all safe and like active. That there's got to be something right for black. Can't be good. But this whole thing is a necessary conclusion of white's efforts to try and control the d3 square after knight c5. Right, like if he's not playing this, then he's allowing knight d3, which is terrible. I mean, possibly you could still play around it. Like maybe you can try, I don't know, like something like this, and then now if knight d3, you can just play rook f1, and that knight looks pretty, but black can still really go wrong here. Like let me turn the engine. Or hold on. I'm just thinking. I think white can actually play around it, and no, but a3 is hanging too. Is there something here though? Because now this is hanging and this is hanging. Not sure what to make of this. He's not saving both. So no, this would be a mistake. Let me just quickly turn on the engine. I think black is losing a piece there. No, it says he can save it. There's one saving move, knight takes f2. Let me see how that works. I'm not sure why this works. So I take here. Now, first of all, if I took the knight, then I guess we take the rook, and we will get a rook and a pawn for two minor pieces. But I'm not sure why the engine is saying that black is better in this kind of position. I think it's because at the end of this, e4 is hanging as well. So it's actually a rook and two pawns. It's actually a rook and two pawns for the minor piece, and the king is open. So it makes sense that black would be slightly better. But even here, I'm not. Yeah, and then you can't really. It's not like you're going after this pawn. Just in a possible line. I don't know. Like queen b6. So you can't even pick up that pawn later on. So yeah, it makes sense. So okay, there's no bishop. So yes, black can take bishop. A takes a3. So this is the problem that yes, white could try to play around it and allow knight d3 and play rook f1, but the problem is that knight d3 has a dual threat. Like it's not just hitting the rook, also hitting on a3. So then one more thing. Like what if we move the rook first, knight d3, and then I don't know, like we just really go into defense mode. But if you move the knight away, the problem is the queen is also overloaded because it was guarding e4. This is all just really not working. He played bishop c1, but then at the very worst, black could just take that and play the bishop pair. And even here, bishop a3 is hanging. So I think white is already toast here long time ago. Like this shit is just not working because it allows knight d3. c4 was not good. And man, if you're not playing c4, then it's like, come on, what was this premature knight c4 to knight d2 idea? I really think here there are a few inaccuracies. First, I don't like a3, which I'll check with the engine very soon. And I don't like knight c4, and I prefer knight h5 here. So let's check the engine here. Sorry, knight h4. Yeah, so it says knight h4 is the move. Yes. Uh, and I don't like knight c4, and I'm right. Yeah, it's just premature. Although its engine is not saying b5. Wow, knight ce5. Because wait, what's going on here? I didn't even look at this. No, okay, hold on. What the fuck's going on? No, no. I'm just sorry. I'm getting lost in madness. So no, of course. This comes with b5 next move, not this move. First you play this, right? And it's still premature because next move it gets hit. Right. Next move b5, and you're going back to d2. So yeah, engine agrees. It's premature. Knight h4 is the move. And yes, knight f1 is another way to play, very common. And then it usually hops out to e3, and you have some tasty squares there if you can keep e4 guarded. Although in this case, I don't think you can get away with this because with the bishop on h7, you just don't have enough pieces to keep that guarded with the knight on e3. So the knight f1 plan is kind of a second-rate idea. Knight h4 is definitely the move. A3 I think was an inaccuracy too. Now interestingly, it says knight c4 here is just crushing +2, and I'm not right, because black actually does not have a way to guard that. That is phenomenal. So why did he play this move, but not last move then? And I was also not really thinking. So yeah, there's actually no way to guard e5 again. That's incredible. Knight c4 just kills it. Game, not game, but yeah. Although it's a scary pawn to take. Like let's say if I was playing this over the board, I would be very scared to take that pawn. Like let's say we take, and then I really have to calculate. Like there's always some bullshit going on, right? Like okay, so first of all, if I take here, yeah, engine is saying it takes that one instead. No, but then it's saying you take here. Okay, what the fuck? No, no, first you take here, but then he takes there. Yeah, white is still doing well. What is going on here? It's just yeah, both. It's just saying knight f is better, and I think because it keeps this guarded. And now if you kick this, I'm curious, how does white continue here? I think you would I'm thinking you would take here first. Knight takes, and then maybe you go to e3. But I just checked the engine, it says queen g4 intermezzo. So okay, so after bishop f6, how are you continuing this? Is it rook takes e7? Yeah. And there's not really another way to guard this. Like let's see, he plays f6. How does white continue here? I'm not sure. Like I guess still rook takes d7. Wow. Yeah, okay, so a lot of inaccuracies going on here. Like knight c4. So e5 is mistake then. Straight up mistake. And I'm surprised a player of Brian McLaren's caliber did not see this. Like in a long game, knight c4 is like the first candidate move you're going to be looking at as white. Uh, I think maybe I think I know why he didn't. Both players didn't look at it because they're just in your mind. Like sometimes you play dogmatically. You're like, fuck it, I'm not playing this because this doesn't look right. But it doesn't look right. But at the same time, when you think about logically, you got to think about what the pieces are doing. Okay. Whoops. You got to think that the d7 knight, like, okay, so like now that I've seen the engine line, I'm trying to think about it in terms of the motifs. So here, or is it here? No, knight c4. Yeah, okay, here. If I think in terms of the motifs, I have to think that d7 knight is hanging and e4 is hanging. So it looks like you just traded pawns, but at the end of this, black is toast. Like if he takes here, you take with the bishop first, and then this is still hanging. If he does something with a knight, then you take on d7. Although, why can't he go back to f6? And I think it's e7 is hanging as well. Crazy. So how do I think about this in terms of motifs? It's that you've got an unprotected bishop. Yeah, yeah, I mean, okay, it's interesting. And okay, lastly, let's look at why a3 is an inaccuracy. Even if the tactic didn't exist of knight c4, I still think even without that possibility, a3 is still an inaccuracy. But I could be wrong. Anyways, like I think there should be other moves better than a3. Now a4, it says it's not so. It's actually worse than a3, and I wonder why. So bishop b4, right? Even if not right now, so it just leaves the dark squares too weak, I guess. No, no. I was okay. Hold on. I'm not sure. Whatever. Fuck it. I'm not really not sure, and I'm not gonna go through this. a3, rook e8. It doesn't like knight c4. Yeah, it was premature. Let's go through it with the engine properly now. Knight c5, yes, killer move. Although it's saying b4. So what does this move do? Okay, first of all, it threatens to take here, supported by the bishop. So white needs to make a choice. Now, if you played a4, that's like a dream Benoni position for black, where the knight is untouchable. And this is a permanently weak pawn. Like, this is just such a garbage position for white. Okay, so he doesn't want to play a4. He doesn't want to take... okay, so what about taking? This is also garbage usually because then the b pawn comes onto a... There's a backward pawn on an open file, so he can take. So now he's sitting there nursing a pin. Knight c5 will be untouchable, and rook b8 or something, queen b6, I don't know. And that b3 pawn will be weak. So b4 is the kind of move which is in my blind spot. I didn't even consider it as a candidate. But once I see it, it just makes sense. Once I analyze it, it's a beautiful positional move. Just giving you a dream Benoni position with the knight on c5 and a weak, terminally weak b3 pawn. It's incredible. So both moves are possible. Yes, I pretty much analyzed the shit out of this game. I just want to see how black ended up losing this game though. No, yeah, because white ended up winning despite the shitty position. So it was black's game to give away. Okay, so he gives away the skewer because he thinks queen a6 saves it, but then there's bishop f1 and he's probably calculated this as well. But no, he hasn't. He gives it up. Yeah, and now white's winning, right? So the mistake was f6, giving away queen a5. Now, could he have done something else here? Okay, let me not look at the engine. What should black do instead? Like you're up a pawn, you have the bishop pair, the knight on h4 has no scope for now. e5 is under threat, however. f6 is one way to guard it, but it doesn't work. So what other way is there to guard e5? Bishop d6. It's not a nice move to play, but at least it's not losing. Like that's one move, but there's gotta be a better way. Using the queen makes a lot of sense because I feel like black's pieces are quite in their prime positions. Now this, I think is a good move, maybe, but then because it's also threatening a3. But then I got to think about this, and I'm not sure about this. So maybe now I play queen. No, fuck. Maybe I play. This doesn't look right. What other ways are there to guard this shit? Queen f6 drops the a7 pawn. So far, bishop d6 is the only one that actually makes some sense. Yeah, let's check the engine. I think bishop d6. Okay, so let's check it. No, now white's... Oh, come on, I fell into the skewer again. What am I doing? Jeez. So... Right, I have to not only guard e5, I also have to stop the skewer. I probably literally fell into the same thought pattern that Brian McLaren did and blundered the skewer. Okay, how do I do that? This is not an easy problem to solve. Now I saw the engine lines and it's recommending bishop d3 and knight c2, and I don't know why. So let's check. First off, knight c2. How does this stop the skewer threads? Well, now you have this. No, you don't. What in the world's going on here? Well, the one point is that the rook is hit, so it's like you can kind of give up this rook there. So the queen can literally run anywhere. So maybe I go, just as an example, maybe I go, I don't know, shit, oh my god. Okay, let's say I go there. Okay, and yeah, I just checked the engine. It likes queen c5. Okay, rook d4 is another interesting engine move. Interesting. It's like you take my queen, I take yours. And can the queen keep that bishop guarded? I don't see a way how. So this just looks ugly. You gotta give up because a rook d4 is the best, no doubt. But my move was queen c5, and my idea is if he pins you, you take on a3, and then if he takes, you get to get out of this attack, and you're doing fine here. What else? Yeah, queen c5, and then if he takes a rook, at least you get to take this rook, and you should be fine. One thing here though is yeah, it's fine, it's fine, it's good. Okay, so knight c2 is a beautiful move, but why? How would I find that personally in that game? What motifs enabled me to find that move? Because I didn't find it, but what would in the future allow me to find that move? Well, I gotta think, I gotta save e5, I gotta save the skewer. That's not easy. But, yeah, that's not an easy move to find. I literally have to think really far ahead that I'm gonna let you have my rook, but I'm gonna attack your rook instead. Like that's, and in doing so, I also gotta think, what if white just kind of just gets out and renews the threat? Because now the same problems exist here. Now what does black do? Maybe this gives me a chance. Well, it kind of distracted the rook from here, the e5 pawn attack, so now I can take queen c5. But no, then bishop b4. Yeah, I can take that though. No, I can't take it, it's pinned. This is ugly. No, it's not. Whatever. Okay, what is the engine saying here? It's saying knight d4 back or queen c. Yeah, queen c5. It likes queen c5. Yeah, this was the defense. Okay. Okay, what other move was there beside knight c? There was bishop d3. How do I make sense of this move? I'm still leaving this hanging. But the idea is now I introduce the threat of 92. And if he goes for the skewer, now I can play queen a6 because I stopped this threat of bishop f1. Okay, so it's amazing. So bishop d, if I was thinking about this as black, um, I wanna, fuck. It's like you're just creating an absolutely new threat. Like you're just letting white have everything. Even that knight c2 move and this bishop d3 move, just totally introducing an entirely new threat of knight e2 to stop rook takes e5 and shutting out the like that's a next level move. I'm just wondering if there's a more human defense other than knight c2 and bishop d3 to save the game as black. Because there's no promise that I'd be able to find this myself in the game. That's crazy. Are there any human moves to save both threats? It's not easy. Was queen c5 working? Yeah. So I think this is the more human way. If you saw both threats of the skewer and e5 pawn, this is a very human way to save both threats. And you retain a sizable advantage. Now, yes, there's bishop b4, but then you can run back and you're still guarding everything. And this should be okay. Nice. Okay, so there's a very human defensive once you see both threats. Okay, so then yes, white is in the lead now, but I still think black in the end game somewhere had got out a position where he can hold. Like engine disagrees with me. It's saying black is utterly trashed. I thought black was holding here somewhere. Nope, I was wrong. But I won't analyze this endgame. I'm too tired. Fuck it. I've been at this long enough. Alright, so enough. So what did I take away from today's session? Uh what was that was analyzing a Hans Niemann game. Eh? Let's go back to that one quickly. Just looking at this game. What happened in this game? Did I gain anything from this game? Yeah, I went through this. I didn't get to analyze it properly, but there's some kind of instructional lesson to be had here. Let me just try and understand it and verbalize it to myself before I end this stream. No, there's a very instructive attacking lesson to be had here. Because there's no doubt that White calculated all this. He understood, at least until Rook c4, that because you'd be very hesitant to play a move like this and having a pawn outstretched on d6 like that, unless he's envisioned this rising after Rook c4. Like once you see this position on in your head, then you're like, okay, definitely White has a brutal attack. So like, let's say Queen takes d6. There's even just Knight takes h7 at worst, if not more. Like maybe you have Rook h4. Let me just shut off the engine in the other. Let me put a takeaway from this game, this Ryan Yang versus Brian McLaren game. In the opening, I felt like White didn't understand the opening, and so played Knight c4 prematurely there. Whereas he should have played Knight h4, I think. And then what else was there? And then there was a nice Knight c4 tactic that he missed. He played Knight c4 one move too late. He could have played it as soon as Black played e5. And there White is actually crushing. And both players had that in their blind spot because they didn't assess the motifs far enough that there are some power balance squares like the d7 knight. So after knight c4, it looks like, yes, Black can take on e4. But at here, if you look far enough, man, Black is tactically lost because the bishop on e7 is hanging, the knight on d7 is hanging, knight on e4 is hanging. Yeah. And lastly, I think the amazing thing is that White ended up winning this game. So Ryan Yang, I've looked at like 2 or 3 of his games already from this tournament, and in a lot of these games he comes back into the game. He just holds on, and then at some point his opponent tactically blunders, and it's not even an obvious blunder, but yeah, and then he's back in the game. And then once he's back in the game, I find he does really well, uh, holding the advantage. Very interesting. So there's always a chance at this level, eh? Like his opponent is no, yeah, like it's a 2100, and he was able to win the game despite having such a miserable position here. Crazy. So it's like once you put up a stalwart defense, your opponent's likely to plunder even in a winning game. Brian must have been kicking himself. So yeah, enough. And yeah, that knight f2 tactic was instructive. Uh, Now I figured it out by kind of playing moves on the board and calculating. But is there a way to understand this tactic conceptually rather than calculating? Well, after king takes f2, how would I think about this? Is that uh, after after knight c2, which is the obvious follow-up, that I have to think that I am set to win an entire rook, right? After knight c2, unless the king stays in touch with the rook. But I can envision in my head that after knight c2, the king will not be able to stay in touch with the rook because it cannot, like if it goes to a white square like f1, there's always bishop d3 check, for example. and f2 will be covered by the queen on b6. So I am set to win an entire rook here. Right, like king f1, there's just bishop d3. So even if I didn't see anything else, just conceptually, I could think, okay, there's after knight f2, there's a knight c2 with the discovery, and I'm gonna pick up the rook, and that king will not be able to stay in touch with the rook, so I'm gonna pick up a full rook. You can understand that tactic conceptually without calculating anything. Okay, so that's enough for that game. Close it. Let's go back to that other one. Neiman game. Here, the instructive point was that like if you cut the board in half, black has like all his pieces on the queen side. Is really flouting the principles here. You can see like I think white envisioned this that he can really get something going here. But it's not obvious because the bishop is guarding g5, so I'm wondering. So right. So this is how you think about it. Okay, so this is how I would think about it. I want to play knight g5 in some line somewhere, okay? Because I know that it softens up at the king side with g6. Oops. And I know that if I can get black to play g6, that attack is going to be crushing for me. If, in a lot of these lines, if I can get rid of the dark squared bishop, okay? Now, how do I get rid of the dark squared bishop? Is this move knight d6. Perfect chance. And he has to kind of take it. Otherwise, he's just acceding to acquiescing to a kind of inferior position once I trade off the knight for the bishop. So there, mission accomplished. I know I'm set to pick up that dark squared bishop, so now I can begin my attack. And this is the instructive point. What I want to take away from this game for myself is that without the dark squared bishop, this is in the bag. This game is in the bag. Let's check with the engine. White should be crushing here. Yeah, something like g6, and then you take the bishop, and black is not surviving this with no dark squared. Black needs a dark squared bishop to help defend this position. That's my takeaway from this. Now, how did black end up in that stupid position? He it didn't look like there was an attack, but he was just kind of courting disaster by having all his pieces on the queen side there. And look where all of white's pieces are aiming, right? There are a lot of possibilities there. So that's what happens when you flout the opening principles, even at a 2700 level. All right, enough of that. Let's go. That was a long ass stream. I'm tired. Let's end this. Stop